The morning sun rose gracefully over the horizon, casting a warm, golden glow across the serene waters of the island. The gentle rustle of palm leaves and the rhythmic sound of waves created a welcoming melody for the newcomers. Mr. Rourke, dressed in his signature immaculate white suit, stood on the pier with a welcoming smile. Beside him stood his loyal assistant, looking up at the sky as the small airplane descended toward the dock. Mr. Rourke turned to his companion and said, "Good morning, class." "Good morning, Tattoo." Smiles, everyone. Smiles. Tattoo adjusted his collar, his eyes widening with curiosity as he caught sight of an attractive woman stepping off the plane. "Wow, boss, who is the dish?" Mr. Rourke smiled gently, acknowledging the phrasing, and replied, "Dish? The lady is Miss Linda Whitney. She works for Fresh Magic Cosmetics." Tattoo tilted his head, watching her elegant movements. "Is she a model?" Mr. Rourke shook his head slightly, clarifying her actual position, and said, "She is a secretary." Tattoo wondered what could have brought a corporate worker all the way to this extraordinary place. "What is her fantasy?" Mr. Rourke looked toward Miss Whitney, his voice carrying a tone of deep understanding. "Miss Whitney is tired of the injustices her occupation often forces her to endure. Her fantasy is to become the boss." Tattoo nodded in agreement, feeling a sudden wave of empathy for her situation. "I know the feeling." Mr. Rourke chuckled softly, giving his small friend a playful look. "Then perhaps you, too, have something to learn." Before Tattoo could respond, his attention was drawn to another couple disembarking from the same flight. The man walked with a heavy step, his shoulders tense and his expression clouded with anxiety. Tattoo pointed toward him and noted, "That guy do not look too happy." Mr. Rourke sighed, his expression turning serious as he watched the man. "He has reason not to be, Tattoo. That is Mr. Jesse Morrow. And the lady is his wife, Kathy." Tattoo observed the woman, who was smiling warmly and looking around at the tropical paradise with genuine excitement. "She looks happy enough." Mr. Rourke nodded slowly, explaining the hidden emotional weight of the situation. "Yes, Mrs. Morrow thinks they are on vacation. Her husband loves her too much to tell her the real reason they are here." Tattoo felt a shiver of curiosity. Sounds scary." Mr. Rourke looked ahead, his voice dropping to a serious whisper. "It is more than scary, my friend. Mr. Morrow is a victim of a recurring and terrifying dream. His fantasy is to be rid of his nightmare forever." Tattoo leaned closer, eager to understand the mystery. "What does he dream?" Mr. Rourke paused for a moment before delivering the unsettling truth. "That he murders his wife." After a brief silence, Mr. Rourke stepped forward to greet all the arriving passengers with his traditional, warm hospitality, raising his voice so everyone could hear. "My dear guests, I am Mr. Rourke, your host. Welcome to Fantasy Island." A short while later, inside a grand and beautifully appointed corporate office prepared specifically for her on the island, Linda Whitney stood behind a large mahogany desk. Mr. Rourke stood before her, holding a vibrant marketing portfolio. He looked through the pages and praised her efforts. "This Fresh Magic Cosmetics ad is excellent, Miss Whitney, excellent." Linda smiled, her eyes lighting up with professional pride, and replied, "Thank you." However, her smile quickly faded into a look of deep-seated frustration as she remembered her reality. "My boss got a raise and a promotion for that ad." Mr. Rourke looked up from the folder, surprised by the revelation. "But you told me that you did the ad." Linda gestured with her hands, the built-up emotion of 15 years of uncredited labor finally coming to the surface. "That is just it, I did. Mr. Rourke, I have been a secretary with Fresh Magic Cosmetics for 15 years now. I know that company inside and out. I have got great ideas, great ones. But do I get the credit? No. Do I get a promotion? No. Do I get overexcited? You bet." Mr. Rourke listened intently, recognizing the genuine talent and dedication behind her outburst. "I admire your enthusiasm, Miss Whitney. And I believe we can do something to relieve your frustration. Do you think you could prove your ability in, say, 2 days?" Linda did not hesitate for a single second, her confidence shining through. "Absolutely." Mr. Rourke smiled warmly, pleased by her determination. Now I admire your confidence. How does Vice President in charge of advertising and publicity sound to you, huh? Linda gasped, her heart skipping a beat at the mention of such a prestigious title. Too good to be true. How? Mr. Rourke leaned forward slightly, sharing a helpful connection. The president of the conglomerate that owns Fresh Magic Cosmetics is an old and dear friend of mine. I told him about your fantasy and he has agreed to let you demonstrate what you can do. Linda looked at the vast desk, the executive chair, and the lack of a typewriter, still trying to process the sudden shift. You mean I do not have to type anymore or take dictation or smile? Mr. Rourke assured her with absolute certainty. Of course not. You are an executive now. Linda straightened her posture, feeling the true weight of her new reality. That is right. I am going to be great. I will be decisive but fair. I will be tough but gentle. I will be Cree. She stopped mid-sentence, a sudden realization hitting her. I only have 2 days to prove myself. Mr. Rourke confirmed calmly, 2 days. He then gestured toward the beautiful scenery outside her office window. To make you feel more at home, we have moved your office to Fantasy Island. Good luck, Miss Whitney. Just as Linda began to familiarize herself with her new surroundings, the office door opened and Terry, a colleague from her usual working circle, walked in with a joyful expression. Linda, I just heard about your promotion. Congratulations. Linda looked up, offering a genuine smile. Oh, thanks, Terry. Eager to begin her managerial duties, she immediately turned to another associate who entered, holding a stack of papers. Mr. Troy, I need you to go over these layouts. You have a meeting at 4. Before Mr. Troy could answer, the door swung open completely, and Roxanne, a competitive and highly opinionated coworker, stepped into the room with her arms crossed, looking around with an envious gaze. Well, well, well. You finally made it out of the typing pool. Linda kept her composure, greeting her politely. Hi, Proxanne. Roxanne scoffed, unable to hide her resentment. Why you and not me? That is what I would like to know. Linda answered calmly, relying on her long-standing loyalty to the brand. Well, I have been at Fresh Magic a long time. Roxanne rolled her eyes, throwing a passive-aggressive jab. True. I keep forgetting our age difference. Well, congrats. Hey. I just hope you can handle it. A desk would help. Follow me. It is all yours. Roxanne pointed toward the glass window of the office, where Linda's new executive title had been hastily written. Don't get too hysterical. That lettering washes off with water. Linda looked at the window, her voice steady and filled with unshakable resolve. Proxanne. In a couple of days, it will be carved in stone. Meanwhile, on another part of the island, Mr. Rourke walked up the steps of a beautiful, sunlit villa where the Moreau family was staying. He knocked gently on the door and entered. Oh, Mr. Rourke, please come in. Kathy Moreau greeted him warmly, looking up from her unpacking. Mr. Rourke bowed slightly in greeting. Thank you, Miss Moreau. I was expecting your husband to stop by my office. Is he here? Kathy smiled, though a hint of worry lingered in her eyes. Believe it or not, he is taking a nap. He has not been sleeping very well the past couple of weeks. Mr. Rourke nodded understandingly. Yes, he did mention that difficulty to me when he made arrangements for your visit. Kathy sighed, sitting down on the edge of the sofa. Oh, did he? Yes. Well, you know, he won't even discuss it with me. Suddenly, the quiet atmosphere of the villa was shattered as Jesse Moreau burst out of the adjacent bedroom, his eyes wild with terror and sweat dripping from his forehead. He screamed in panic, Jesse, Kathy, now. Kathy rushed to his side immediately, wrapping her arms around him to comfort him. Oh, Jesse. Oh, Jesse, darling. You are awake now. It is okay. Mr. Rourke stepped forward, his voice calm but firm, addressing the trembling husband. Perhaps it is time you told your wife the truth, Mr. Moreau. Jesse looked at his wife, his heart heavy with a secret he could no longer keep to himself. I do not have a lot of bad dreams, Kathy. I just have one. I keep dreaming over and over again that I am trying to kill you. Kathy looked at him, Her eyes filled with deep affection and tenderness rather than fear. "Oh, darling. Well, that is just a silly dream." Mr. Rourke intervened gently, knowing that ignoring the problem would not solve it. "Unfortunately, it is more than that, Mrs. Moreau. Your husband's grandfather and great-grandfather also had such dreams. And each resulted in tragedy." Kathy turned pale, looking from Mr. Rourke to her husband. "You do not mean that they—" Mr. Rourke revealed the historical pattern with grave solemnity. "At exactly 1 minute past midnight on their 50th birthdays, each of your husband's ancestors murdered their wives." Kathy gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "Oh, my God." Jesse gripped her hands tightly, his voice shaking with emotion. "Try to understand, Kathy, that tomorrow is my birthday." Kathy shook her head, trying to find a logical explanation to break the tension. "Oh, darling. Well, it is still just a dream. I mean, it is a coincidence. Jesse, your mother's still alive." Jesse looked down, his voice hollow as he recounted his family history. "My father was killed in an automobile accident when he was 38. Don't you remember?" Kathy placed her hands on his cheeks, forcing him to look into her eyes, which were filled with absolute devotion. "Jesse. Jesse. You love me, and I love you. Why, that is stronger than any family curse or whatever you think this is." Jesse closed his eyes, leaning into her touch but still gripped by fear. "I used to think that way, but my nightmare is so real that I can't take the chance, Kathy. It was the wives that were murdered. If I divorce Kathy today, she would be safe." He looked up at the island host, pleading for a legal solution to a supernatural problem. "Now, you can help us out, Mr. Rourke." Mr. Rourke shook his head slowly, explaining that true bonds could not be dissolved so easily. "You know as well as I do there is much, much more to marriage than mere words on a paper or the subterfuge of a convenient divorce, Mr. Moreau." Jesse felt a surge of helplessness. "Then what can we do?" Mr. Rourke walked toward the window, looking out toward a specific pathway on the island. "Your problem originated in a country house just outside Marseilles, where your ancestors lived. I am afraid, Mr. Moreau, to reach the end you desire, it will be necessary to start at the beginning." Jesse stood up, ready to do whatever it took. "You mean you want us to go to that house in France?" Mr. Rourke turned back to them, his eyes reassuring. "No, no. Here on Fantasy Island. The house will exist exactly as it was in the past, but only for the duration of your fantasy. When you are ready, all you have to do is go through that door and follow the pathway to find it." Kathy looked at the door, her heart racing. "Is this the only way, Mr. Rourke?" Mr. Rourke gave them a definitive answer. "I assure you it is." He then added a crucial piece of advice, his voice echoing with profound meaning. "I must also warn you, the only weapon you take with you is your love for each other. Guard it well, Mr. and Mrs. Moreau." Back in the bustling temporary office of Fresh Magic Cosmetics, Linda was managing multiple phone lines at once, fully embracing her high-powered executive role. She picked up the receiver, answering a call with professionalism. "Hello. Yes, I am looking at them right now. They are much improved and I love it." "You bet. Could you hold on a sec?" "Thank you." She pressed a button to switch lines. "Hello. Yes, Mr. Norton. May I call you back?" "Thank you. Hold on." She turned to an assistant standing nearby. "David, thank you very much." She then looked over at Roxanne, who was observing the chaos with an amused smile. "Roxanne, I have got to have a secretary, please. Could you tell personnel to speed it up a little bit?" "Thank you." As she hung up the phone, she rubbed her temples, muttering to herself about the sheer volume of work. How did Rosalind Russell do it? Suddenly, the doorway was blocked by the imposing figure of Ed Turner, her former boss, who walked in with a condescending smile. "Linda, sweetheart, I heard about your promotion. I want you to know I am absolutely ticked. I know I have lost the best secretary a guy could ever have, but, hey, this way we can visit in the executive washroom, huh? Hey, your sink or mine, huh? How much are they paying you?" Linda stood up, her voice firm and dismissive. "That is none of your business, Mr. Turner." "I mean," Ed smirked, leaning against the doorframe. That little, her? Linda adjusted her papers, refusing to be intimidated. I have got a lot of work to do. Ed held up his hands, laughing softly. Temper, temper. You have no reason to be mad at me. When I heard about your promotion, I was just playing. Tickled. Right. Linda sighed, looking at him coldly. Do you know why? You lost your mind. Ed chuckled, stepping closer to her desk. Funny. Now, I think you are going to prove a theory of mine right. Yes. Well, basically, it is that a woman just can't cut it as an executive. Linda raised an eyebrow, challenging his statement. Really? Ed nodded confidently, spreading his hands. Yeah. Well, I mean, you ladies are good for one or two things. Like thinking up ideas that our boss takes the credit for. Like falling on your cute little. Linda cut him off sharply, her voice icy. Busy, Ed. I am very busy. Ed shrugged, completely unfazed by her annoyance. That is all right. I was just leaving. It is all right. I just wanted to let you know that I know all about this. This whole setup is just temporary. You have got only 2 days to prove yourself. Linda looked at him, her determination hardening. So? Ed smiled a sinister smile, offering a mock safety net. So I am holding your job open for you. You are going to need it. Linda glared at him as he began to walk away. You know something, Ed? Before she could finish her thought, a gentle knock sounded at the door. Come in. A man stepped into the office, carrying a notepad and pen. Miss Whitney? Linda nodded, still recovering from Ed's unannounced visit. Yes. The man smiled politely and introduced himself. I am Jack Friday, your new secretary. Ed Turner, who was still lingering in the hallway, looked back and laughed loudly at the sight of a male secretary. Some secretary, her, sweetheart? Tick, tock, tick, tock. Time is running out. In the advertising production area nearby, the creative crew was hard at work. The director called out to the camera operator, George, can we take the camera off the tripod and get a few on your knees down in there, as close as possible? Thank you. Okay, remember, crazy, wild, hot. Keep moving. Never stop. Keep in constant motion. Back in the main office, Linda turned her attention to her new assistant, still a bit surprised by the arrangement. Mr. Friday? Jack smiled warmly, shaking her hand. Just plain Jack will do. Linda sat back down, looking at him thoughtfully. Jack, I don't know if we can work this out right. Jack looked down at himself, joking about his appearance. What is the matter? Am I too tall? Linda cracked a slight smile. Too hairy. Jack chuckled, his tone becoming sincere and professional. I am not precious. I am looking forward to working for you. Linda looked at him with genuine curiosity. You are. Jack nodded, expressing his deep respect for her journey. Yeah. Women who have attained your level of success have worked hard to get there. They tend to have their priorities straight and are generally more compassionate and understanding than their male counterparts. They also have better legs. Linda laughed softly, appreciating the compliment and his candor. When did you decide to become the secretary? Jack's expression turned slightly reflective as he shared his background. About 3 months ago, when my unemployment benefits ran out. Linda asked, and what was your prior job? Jack answered, aeronautics engineer. I worked for a company that designed jetliners. Guess whose company went under when the recession hit the big airlines? Linda surmised, yours. Jack nodded. Yeah. But guess who spent his last $500 going to secretarial school so he would not starve waiting for it to all be over? Linda smiled warmly. You. Jack smiled back proudly. That is right. And I got straight A's all the way through. I would type 80 words a minute, and I would take shorthand at 120. Linda picked up her pen, thoroughly impressed by his qualifications. Make a note. Hire that man Friday. Jack bowed slightly. Thanks, boss. At that moment, Ed Turner stuck his head back into the office, sneering at the two of them. Well, well, well. The odd couple. Linda looked up, her wit sharp and ready. You mean you and you, Ed? Ed sighed, trying to sound sympathetic but failing miserably. Oh, how sad. Only a few hours, and already you are starting to crack under the pressure. Linda scoffed. Are you kidding? I will handle this. Ed shook his head, his tone becoming serious. Are you kidding? I have never been more serious. Linda, you are playing in the big leagues now. You have got to be ready to feel anything they throw at you. Linda replied firmly, I am ready. Ed leaned in closer. You have got to be willing to do anything to get the job done. Linda stated, I am willing. Ed smiled, delivering the real challenge of the day. You are willing to do anything to get Vito Orsati's endorsement. Linda recalled the name instantly. Vito Orsati, the clothes designer. Vito Orsati, the lech. Ed nodded. An important lech. We need his endorsement for our new line of fragrances, remember? Linda reminded him of the true origin of the strategy. Ed, the whole celebrity endorsement campaign was my idea, remember? Ed gestured toward the door. Tell that to Vito at lunch. Linda looked at the clock. Lunch. Ed added with a knowing smirk, right. Oh, by the way, Vito likes women to be nice to him. You ready to be nice, Linda? Lunch with Vito. Linda muttered to herself as Ed finally walked away. Oh, great. Meanwhile, Jesse and Kathy Moreau had followed the designated island pathway and found themselves standing before a massive, old-fashioned country estate that looked as though it had been transported directly from 18th century France. They stepped inside, the door creaking loudly behind them. They walked into a large, dusty room. A kitchen. Kathy looked around, trying to find some humor in the bleak surroundings. How appetizing. Suddenly, a small rustling sound caused her to jump back. Oh, God. So much for the grand tour. 17 rooms full of rats and dust. Charming. Jesse looked at her, his heart heavy with the knowledge of why they were there. I never promised you a honeymoon, Cotton. Kathy walked toward a dilapidated table, her eye